June 17th. I now call this meeting to order. Please be advised that FATV is conducting audio and video recording of this meeting for public broadcast. I ask that anyone in the audience who is recording this meeting to please stand and identify themselves now. Seeing none, I ask that all electronic devices be placed into silent mode. All right, first thing on our agenda is petition 06025.
Approval of the minutes, Amy?
I'm sorry?
Approval of the minutes?
Oh, we do have minutes from the last meeting. Any questions or concerns?
No, make a motion that we approve them.
Second.
I have a motion and second to approve the minutes from last meeting, duly noted. Now we move on to 06025.
Do you want to take a vote on that?
Oh, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, unanimously 3-0. Okay, now we'll move on to petition 06025. Councilor Boschman to remove parking meters on Grove Street. Cars are utilizing parking spots for the entire day. And with us at the podium, we have Councilor Paul Boschman. We also, I want to make note that we have also Sergeant Teague here from the Fitchburg Police Department as well.
Oh, would you like to speak first, ma'am? Oh, you want to hear me first, eh? Madam Chair, why don't we hit the button, because you know how people are. If I get more time than they get out there, they're going to be all, hell's going to break in when we're here tonight. So you better hit that button. Hi, Madam Chair, today Paul Boschman here. I'm a resident of the city of Fitchburg, also a city councilor, but most of all, and most important, I'm a taxpayer. And that's the most important thing that I am here. And I come here tonight to talk about, right over there, Grove Street. We had meters on that street for years, and we collected money from the residents of this city for parking there. Now somebody, somehow, somewhere, put black bags on the meters and saying, one, they're either not legal, or two, you can't do what you're doing. What we're doing, by putting those black bags, we're allowing people to park there all day. All day. And so the people that want to go to the senior center, and mostly it's elderly, and we're all concerned about the elderly, they can't go because they don't have parking. So what they have to do is they have to park way up and walk. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm up there in age, and sometimes I miss a step. And sometimes I forget to pick up my feet and they drag them. And a little stone or a little step high rise makes you fall and makes you trip. It's wrong when I drive down there and I see cars from New Hampshire parking over there all day. It's wrong when I see construction workers that are making big money parking there all day, but the residents can't park there. Nobody can park there. The businesses get hurt on Main Street because now we got constructions and we're making it even more difficult because we don't want to take the black bags off. You know, you all know we're going through a financial hard time, $4.5 million in the hole. I'm not saying we're going to collect $4.5 million, but I was always taught when I was a little boy from the school I went to my parents, to the residents of Fitchburg, every penny counts. And if you add them all up, it makes something. So I'm asking tonight that the bags be taken away. We start taking it over there and let the proper people park there. They should be parking there so they can use the proper functions. And before you start, I know you're here for this. I did talk to the previous traffic guy, and you probably all know him. He's Paul McNamara, and he says those meters, like I say, are perfectly legal. If you look underneath it, it goes all the way up Grove Street, from the top to the bottom, and on one side, way at the top where the residential is, it's on, I believe it's on the right side. Remember, if you remember, Madam Chair, Chris Merrick was the president, and he put a petition in because the residents wanted to park there, and we told them we couldn't do that. We couldn't give them a reserved parking area. And they were complaining about Wallace Towers and how the people were parking there because they had a ticket and they were parking there all day. I'll get your time's up.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Boschman. Next to the podium, we'll have Sergeant Teague speak on this from the police department's point of view. Well, welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I looked into Grove Street, and from my travels in
during shifts. I did notice.
Step a little
Oh,
closer.
sorry.
There you go.
I don't know how far I need to be. I did notice that all the parking meters on Grove Street have those bags, as Council Boishman had mentioned. I have no quarrels with having them removed or having them stay. I kind of side with him that, you know, they're metered there. I can speak to the construction companies from the PD standpoint and just making sure everyone's on the same page to include 54 Wallace Ave with the construction crew that's working there. That obviously we have to coincide with any parking restrictions within the city limits. And then if there's anything, then when the police department will go in and will enforce it.
Okay. Counselor Schultz.
Are those meters still operable, and will the one parking clerk be able to take care of them going forward?
As far as I know, I haven't been told on whether or not they're inoperable. I can reach out to our parking services unit, and I can go with him, or I'll have Officer Savigny, who's also a part of the traffic unit, meet up with them, and we can go over every single one to see whether they're in operation or not, and if they're not, then maybe that's something down the line we can work on getting them repaired.
Thank you. I yield the floor.
Counselor Walsh.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sergeant, do you know offhand, when were the parking meters covered, and why was that at the time? Do you know?
I don't know. I tried looking into some of the paperwork that we have at the station, and I got put into this division back in March. So I've been trying to backtrack with what we have, and I couldn't find anything as to the reason why they were covered in the first place.
Okay. And do we know offhand whether could it be for the convenience of the people who are working on Main Street? Is that, do we know that? We don't know that.
Not that I know of, no.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right. Counselor Boishman and the petitioner, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I do. In regards to Bernie, Councilor Schultz's question
Yep.
to the officer of the law, those meters are working. They were working, and the reason why they put the black bags on, they were told to put the black bags on them when, remember Paul, they had one that used to go around with his helper to give him, he was told to put them on, the one that ran them. All the meters are functional. They just put the bags on because they said they had a question about it, and they thought it wasn't legal, but they are, in my opinion, and in her opinion, they are perfectly legal. They go all the way up, like it says in the book. If you look underneath chapter such and such, it says from the corner of Main Street all the way up Grove Street. So I read that as you have meters. And that's the way Paul McNamara explained it to me, and that's what it was for years.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Counselor Schultz.
I just have one other comment to make that.
Can you put your microphone down?
Sorry.
That's okay.
I don't know how we got up. The senior citizens, if they park there and they have a pass, they won't be putting money into the meters. There'll be free parking for the senior citizens. So
Right, but
there'll be
they're-
no income coming in if the senior citizens park there. I just thought I'd make that point. Thank you.
The matter is before us. Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to speak either for or against 06025? Madam Mayor.
Hi. I'll just note that, within our city ordinance, it looks like that area of Grove Street was repealed in 1989. The only allowance for metered parking exists on the east side of Grove, 18 feet north of Elm Street to Pritchard. So you can see that in our code here. That was amended in 2019 with us. It used to just be from Elm northward to Pritchard, but I think I believe from my memory we captured the prisoner parking to allow them for the courthouse that's prisoner parking space. So really within our ordinance there is no allowance for that. We would need to specifically add an ordinance for metered parking for the entirety of Grove. From Main to Elm, I guess, if you wanted to take the bags off and make them legal, you'd need to add the ordinance. Thank you.
Counselor Walsh. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Madam Mayor, can I just ask you to clarify? So that's the west side of Grove Street, right? It's the side
So
toward the upper
currently,
common.
within our ordinance, the only metered parking is Grove Street on the east side for 10 hours from a point 18 feet north of the intersection of Grove and Elm to Pritchard.
Okay,
So
thank you.
there is no allowance for it south of Elm to Main.
Okay. Would it be possible to hold this until we can maybe petition for an ordinance to create parking in that spot?
I think that's probably legally what we need to do, where it would require an ordinance change. You know,
That would be my motion, to hold this until we can file a petition to change the ordinance to allow that parking and let that be discussed at a city council meeting, if that,
Counselor
I'll
Schultz, how do you
second,
feel
I'll
about that?
second that motion.
okay.
Okay, I have a motion and second to hold this petition until we can get it moved over or talk about an ordinance change as a more permanent basis to allow for legal metered parking. All those in favor? Aye, unanimous. All right, so that will be held pending when we can bring it forward as an ordinance change. Okay. Next, we have petition 06725, residents of Park Street to petition concerns that Midnight Auto Repair Shop is taking over Park Street, leaving the residents with no parking. Sergeant Teague.
So the petition that's being held for today is a issue in regards to Park Street for the on-street parking. From the constituents that reside there, there have been issues with having limited to no off-street parking on their property, so they have to resort to parking on the street. We've been running into some issues where with how small the street is, they're unable to park there, and I know they've been calling the PD with some parking complaints as well.
So I guess the issue is it capable of having no parking, or what is the resolve to fix the parking problem on Park Street?
I guess the request would be to request to put in a residential parking only, residential permit parking. There are a few streets within the city of Fitchburg that already have portions of the street where they're listed out in the city ordinance, I would have to pull it up, that are listed for resident permit only, where they would go to City Hall and retrieve a annual permit, and they can affix it onto their windshield. And then if patrolman or if parking services happens to be out patrolling as well, and they're in that particular area that's noted as no parking, residential permit parking only, we can see that sticker and we would know that they're allowed to park there.
Okay, so that would be an option, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And now I'm going to call up members of the petitioning party. We have Rita Gonzalez, do you want to come up? Or Iris? Okay, Iris. Hello there.
She actually, the officer, she said exactly what we wanted. You know, we really don't have much to say in regards to what she just actually mentioned. So there's not much that I have to say. Just if we could just please get that, you know, residential parking, we will really appreciate it, even if we have to pay for it. We will, you know, go out, you know, to the neighbors and just ask, you know, for some money, and we'll pay for it if we have to. We don't care. But we just rather have that there because we do come from work sometimes. There's no parking because we do have Midnight, his customers, clients, whatever. It's none of our business, you know, it's his business. But they do take the parking and they also park against traffic. And it makes it extremely difficult for us to come in and out. I also have recordings, pictures, you name it, probably like 50 to 100 of them to show you guys proof, of what I'm speaking of. And it has also gotten to the point that if we don't slam on our brakes, there is going to be a head-on collision accident. I also have pictures of, I believe, 2 or 3 times that almost happening due to Mr. Jose's clients, customers, family members, whatever they are. Again, it's none of our business. We just would like Park Street to be safe. And the only way we're thinking it's going to be safe is if we have that no parking or the residential parking only, because if they do park there, they could get towed. Bottom line, you see? Park Street safe. Now we can get in and out without having to slam on our brakes because it's either they're parking against traffic, or they're also parking on the side of the road on top of the crosswalk as well, meaning people have to walk on the street. And not only people, there's also a veteran that he's on a wheelchair. He would pass by every morning, and now he doesn't pass by because there's no way, sometimes, not all the time, I'm saying sometimes, they're parked also on top of the sidewalk and on the crosswalk. There's no way he can ride his little seat.
Okay.
So we see all this on camera, and it's like, wow, why can't they just have conscience or, have a little heart and say, well, before we were here, everybody had their parking, everybody was happy. Now that we're here, we're seeing people on wheelchairs going on the street, people that are walking going on the street because we're just taking up everything. It's not fair, that's all. That's why we're here, because it's just not fair. Like I said, we have plenty of pictures to back up what I'm saying. I won't hesitate, I'll show you guys, but we're not here to fight, we're not here to argue. We just want Park Street to be safe, not for the, for the public, for us as well, because there is going to be a head-on collision. I can't tell you when, but I can tell you it's going to be, and it's going to be an ugly one, and it's going to be, I'm not going to point fingers, but the city has been aware. So something big is going to happen, because it's going to be like, well, the city knew, why couldn't they just put a no parking, blah, blah, blah,
Right, that's what we're here tonight. We're going to find a
Yes,
resolve.
please.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you. Next, I have Simmons, Mr. and Mrs. Simons. Would you like to come in? Do you have anything else to add?
She pretty much,
Okay.
Yes, I'm Mrs. Simmons, and I live on Park Street. And pretty much every single day of the week, they have cars parked on the sidewalk. Just like Isis said, doesn't matter which day of the week, every single day it's the same problem. And calls have been made to police, and they do come up and check it out and that, but it keeps happening. And it's very blind when cars are there. And sometimes, they're not just cars, there's trucks. And the other day, it was like a ramp truck. And they had a car on it. And this is on the sidewalk. So you leaving Park Street, that whole entire sidewalk, every single day. I know, because I come and go often. And being a blind area like that when they're there, it's very scary. We almost got hit many a times. And we're not exaggerating this. This is just a dead-end street. Because when the business wasn't there, and we're all for businesses, we had many there, just like it, but we never had that issue then, where everybody parking on the sidewalk, and that's not being able to see. As it is, we have that big apartment building on the left.
Right.
That's a blind corner to begin with, when you're turning in. So not only, we can't do anything about that, but this is the main problem, is by that business, on Park Street and on the sidewalk, every day.
Okay, thank you.
We don't call up and complain all the time. We just go, there it is again. Here it is again. We can't see around. And it keeps happening. So I guess all I want to say, we could ask if just even some courtesy not to have any of the visitors or business people getting their cars serviced. Please do not park on the sidewalk. I don't know where they can go. It's a business, but I thought that that's all thought out when a business is being allowed to move in there. I thought all that goes into consideration about sidewalk, street, and how it's going to work, how many cars on the lot, the whole thing. But it seems like it's out of control now. Every day, it's scary. And Isis is right. Something is going to happen.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I got to say, but thank you so much.
Thank you. And now, Mr. Bueno, the owner, would you like to come up and? Okay.
First of all, good afternoon. Sorry I'm all dirty, I just came from work. First of all, I got 8 different instances where ISIS called the police on me and they found no results. So I would like to give this to you guys. May I come up?
Yeah, we'll enter that into the public record. Thank you.
All right, so, love the little show, but the little chair that she says that I'm riding, I don't understand the whole point. I've worked every blood and tears that I had since I came to this country when I was 8 years old. I've never been in trouble. I did everything that I possibly could. I worked at Brownell since I finished graduating high school in Monty Tech. I graduated on a Thursday. I started working on Monday. And I never stopped working. I used to fix their police vehicles for 8 years. 8 years. Then I moved to Rick Roberti, realized that it was a bad idea, so I got my own place. Wow, what a bad idea. I have over 1,500 customers.
Wow, that's great.
How can I control that? How can I control new customers coming in when I put no parking signs exactly where she tells me that I'm not allowed to park? The city made me paint no parking on the ground on my property, right? I have my sister park in my entry because if anybody else parks there, I'm screwed, right? I understand the street is small. The other day, there was a small fire up the street. How did a ladder truck get up that street without my sister moving the car? I don't understand.
All right, but I just need to draw you back to,
Parking,
Parking.
sorry.
Yes.
Parking.
yeah.
She's an awesome lady right here. She came by, she told me, hey, you're not allowed to park 15 feet away from the corner. Your sister, perfectly fine where she is. I said, oh, that's crazy. Okay, cool, thank you. In front of the building, the sidewalk, completely understand that. Everybody that parked there, I told them, hey, get out of the way, because I understand. I saw the gentleman with the electric chair every morning, and I could understand how that could be a pain in the butt. I tell people that park there, please don't park there. But she said, that's fine, as long as you have 2 feet on this way and more than enough flow to the traffic pass, what's the issue? I have police officers that come to the shop to tell me about parking. They make it halfway to her house, they turn around and they go home because they don't want to deal with her. An instant, I'm now on my medication. You can see that I'm sorry. You can see that I'm shaking. I had an incident. I went to the hospital, now medication, cool, whatever, you guys don't care. Either way, I went to the court because of the same thing. I was put in front of a judge. I talked to the judge about it. He said that the problem has to escalate more than 3 times for him to do anything. I was like, well, what do you mean? When I have somebody on the phone blowing my line up, screaming at me, and then they hang up. I blocked that number because that is not polite, that is not respectful, and that is not businesslike. I blocked that number. Somehow they call me again, different number.
All right. So again, I want to first of all say congratulations on the success of your business.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being here in town, and rightfully, you've heard from your neighbors about the impact that it's having on their living space. So I'm asking you as the business owner, smart business guy, how we as a body might be able to help you facilitate what you need to be done.
She had an awesome idea on making it for people that live on the street,
Yep.
to park there. She already parks there, so it's not like I care. There's an older lady across the street. She could barely walk. She has to park like on top of her house in the back. It's a hill, right?
Okay.
When I was in the court, I said, I'll pay for it. How can we make that parking space a handicap? Nobody can park there now except for that lady.
Is it marked
Cool.
handicap?
It's not marked handicap. I was like, how can I make that for that lady? I'll pay for it and everything. Now the parking situation is over, right? No help.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that I hear you correctly, so that you
I will
would be-
pay for it.
you would be in agreeance that if we were able to provide residential permit parking for the residents on Park Street that they would display in their window, that you would be okay with that, and whoever parks there that may or may not be frequenting your business.
That's fine. Because
Get a ticket, that's on them.
That's totally fine, because everybody that lives there park there anyway. My fence is right there where she parks, so meaning, let's say it snows, I have to clean that sidewalk, right? I can't, because even if I look over there, she starts locking her horns like I'm gonna steal something. I'm not that kind of guy.
Okay.
The business was slow before because a drug dealer was working there. Fitchburg kicked them out so I can go in there and make the place an actual automotive business. Now that I'm working, it's a problem.
No, it's not going to be a problem. That's what we're going to solve tonight, is that I don't want to be a problem for you as the business owner, and I don't want it to be a problem for the residents who are living there. So I'm just going to ask you to have a seat in the audience. We've got some counselors that have some questions, and we'll go from there.
Is that possible for me to make that parking space a handicap?
We can put in a request.
I'll pay for the lines and everything if you want me to.
No, we will have you come down to the city clerk's office and put in a petition. It goes through the police department on whether that's possible or not. They'll have to do a study, but
Send
if
me the
that's...
bill. I'll pay for it. I'll pay for
Yeah,
it.
if that's something that as a business owner, the right thing to do for the residents, we're happy
If that's
with
what's
that.
going to make everybody else happy, and I don't have to, I love when these guys come down because I used to work for them for 8 years.
Right.
I say hi to them, I tell them, sometimes they think I'm calling them. I don't have time for that, I'm sorry, I don't have time for that.
Right. No, we'll do our business tonight, and we will provide a resolve.
I appreciate that, thank you so much.
Yes, you're
Have a great
welcome.
night, thank you.
Yes. Counselor Schultz?
Yeah, I had questions for Counselor T, Sergeant T.
Sergeant T,
Counselor T. Yeah, as far as residential permit parking, what would that take? That's going to take signage and painting spaces and on the street? Is that an exorbitant amount of money to do that?
I would have to reach out with the DPW and see if they have the signage available, or if that's going to be an added cost that they're going to have to order. And obviously with cost of labor and all that. So that would be something I'd have to follow back with the DPW.
Do you have an estimate of what that might cost you? And now, would the residents have to pay for the permit, or would it be a free permit once it's done?
I believe there is a fee. It's under the city ordinance. I believe it's a $25 annual fee.
$25?
And it's just for the sticker to affix onto their windshield. And that way, it's visible for anyone from parking services to the PD if they're enforcing parking over there.
Yeah, because those lines, they'll have to be painted regularly, and there is a cost associated with that. I did have another comment to make about the handicapped parking space. Now, the resident could petition herself with the police chief, if I'm correct, Sergeant T, to get that handicapped space if she's handicapped. So you wouldn't have to be responsible for that. Yeah, well, they do that.
Right, and
They do that.
Counselor,
Everything is done.
that's not before us, and we're running out of time.
Okay.
So if the no parking issue, has that been satisfied from Officer Teague for you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Counselor Walsh?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Sergeant Teague if, is that possible to have you as a traffic officer work with the residents of Park Street? I don't know how many permits we're talking about. I don't think it's a very long street, so maybe it's,
So from the city ordinance, it says 2 permits per household. I think there's seven houses on the
Okay.
street.
All right.
So it'd be on their, there's 5, okay. So it'd be on them to request the permit through City Hall. So it can be up to, with 5 to 10 permits total. But that'll, there's also a stipulation that I'll have to read back into it, but the property abutting, I know 1011 Main Street, that apartment complex, but they have their own off-street parking
Okay.
that goes onto Park Street, so.
okay. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. All right, any others in the audience wishing to speak on this petition? Seeing none, the matter is before us.
I guess I'd like to make a motion if possible to allow the residents to seek out permits? And I don't know what the next step would be. Do we
I think the next step
petition
would...
to create permit parking on that street?
I think that we would,
Investigate, maybe.
right, I think that and I'm not sure, does the police department do the study or the investigation on that? Or is that DPW? Is it Public Works? Oh,
Probably a collaborative effort, right?
Yeah.
yes, come up to the podium again.
I don't know if it would make it easier. I'm having the land surveyed. When they come, is that something that they could do too?
No.
I have somebody that can paint the lines that works for you guys and everything. I'll pay for everything.
No, you don't have to do that. You're preempting the gun, as they say.
Yep.
So everything that we do is a procedure and a process. So what we'll do next is that we will, I think, talk with the Treasury Department and let them know that there may be residents from Park Street coming down and applying for the residential permit parking.
That's fine, yeah.
For this
Even that lady with the handicap, I'll pay for her permit for her life. I don't care. I don't want to be bothered. I'm just trying to work. That's
Right.
all I'm trying to do.
We hear that.
I appreciate
All
it.
right, yes. So I believe that we can amend the petition, because what's in front of us is no parking. But from what I'm hearing, I don't think that they want no parking. I think it should be, permitted parking only, or residential permitted parking only. So I think that we can amend or change how the petition is before us, so it's the next action step for the residents.
Investigate the
And it sounds like the residents and the owner want a resolve.
Yes.
So,
Well, I guess the petition doesn't really, it just says to petition concerns over leaving the residents with no parking. It doesn't say that there's a no parking zone. So I guess my motion would be to create the possibility for resident permit parking.
that's before us. Counselor Schultz, are you good with that?
Well, maybe investigate first. It's going to take a
So,
collaborative effort between DPW and...
Sergeant Teague, again to the podium, if you don't mind. So we have that by right in our ordinance or in the police, the transportation division, that there is a thing already in place that residents, if so deemed, can have a residential parking permit, correct?
Yes,
That's already in place.
yes.
Yeah, so we don't need to,
And I can work with Jeff Hillman, who oversees the streets division with the DPW, and follow up with him when I'm back to work and figure out, he's good with response time. We can meet up relatively quickly to go over the whole scape of the entire street and see what a plan of action, what they can do and what they have available for equipment.
so do you want me to amend my motion to allow for residential parking on Park Street with the input from the Fitchburg Police Department and the DPW?
I think we can add it, input from PD and DPW. All right, so I'll read it as you've stated it so you can hear it, and we'll see if we need to make changes.
Right.
So residents of Park Street to petition to create a residential permit parking only with input from Police Department and DPW
That's fine.
on Park Street.
That's fine.
Right, that's my motion.
Yeah, I second it.
I have a motion and second. Anyone speaking to the motion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Okay, so from that point on, that will be with input from the police department and the DPW on how we can get that residential permit for you, the resolve for parking, and for you, the business owner, on how to eliminate the stress and the stressors of what's happening with the parking.
Thank you very much.
Good? Okay, you're welcome. All right. Next on our docket is petition 09525. This is Bernie Counselor Bernie Schultz, in conjunction with the Fire Chief Dante Suarez, regarding the church at 240 Water Street, the former St. Bernard's Church. The spire is no longer straight up and down and presents a falling danger. In addition, homeless people frequently have broken into the church, hazardous to the city. A more permanent securing of the building is necessary. So before us, good evening, Chief.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
And so, yeah, this is an issue that's been going on for some time now. What I'd like to do is give you some of the features of the property. I know that we're all pretty familiar with St. Bernard's Church. Then I'll address some of the issues and concerns, and then just give out a couple of solutions that might help with this. So the property itself is located at 240 Water Street. It was built in 1900, so it's 125 years old. It is a very large building because it does encompass the convent that's behind it. So it stands at 58,000 square feet. The parish moved to 333 Mechanic Street in June of 2010, so it's been about 15 years that it's been empty. It was sold to Capital Property Investments in August of 2018. That was 7 years ago. They are located at 250 Commercial Street, Suite 400 in Worcester. And the property is managed by Northeast Properties, who also has an address of 250 Commercial Street, Suite 400 in Worcester. So I think it's safe to assume that it's one and the same. One is the owner and the other one is the management company, but under the same umbrella. The issues and concerns that we all have is, one is the homeless. They continue to enter the property. We've been in there many, many times. We see signs of fire and drug use within the building. Its large size and irregular floor plan creates a very hazardous situation for firefighters. If there was any type of fire in that building, seeing how there's no power to it, we have to assume that somebody was in there and lit this fire. So we will have to go in and search the building to see if there's anybody that's trapped inside. This could potentially cause another Worcester cold storage scenario. That's why it's so concerning to the Fitchburg Fire Department. Also, the potential collapse hazard. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but the crucifix is listing quite a bit. And I'm not a structural engineer, but I would assume that this could cause the steeple to collapse at some point, especially if there is a fire. We did have a tragic event years ago where the steeple collapsed in the center of town here. It took a poor woman's life, so that's a big, big concern for us. I do give Northeast Properties a little bit of credit. They do resecure the building whenever we call. They try to come that day. If they don't, I'll send my ladder truck. We've secured it for them, but they will send somebody by anyway just to take a peek, and if they can't get to it that day, they do come the next day. The issues that we're having is they're not really doing the best job in securing the building, and the homeless do tend to gravitate towards this building, and they do work pretty hard to get back in. So that's an ongoing issue. Some of the solutions that we can have in order of least to best is, one would be to monitor the property with some sort of burglar alarm. Obviously, this would be paid by either the management company or the owners of the property, Capital Property Investments, with some sort of audible alarm too. So as soon as the windows or doors were breached, an alarm would go off, and the homeless would get the hint and not go into the building. The next would be to secure the windows and doors with steel screens. There's numerous companies out there that sell this product. It's heavy duty. I will say that this is somewhat of a concern for fire departments also, because if they did breach it, got inside, there was a fire, and we have to go in, it does limit our ability to exit the building. The only way to get out is the way that we came in. And when we are inside fighting a fire, we'd like to have multiple options on getting out of the building. And last, which is probably the most expensive, but I think it's the best case scenario, would be to raise the building. I don't know what they plan on doing with it. Like I said, it's
What was the term that you used? Raise the building?
Yeah, take it down.
Okay, demo.
It's been empty for 15 years. I'm not sure what their plans are, if they have anything in the near future. But the way that it stands, it is quite a hazard. And like I said, there's, from fire to collapse, it's a huge danger and a liability for the city, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Councilor Schultz.
We have a resident maybe that would like to comment, would she?
Oh, yes,
She
of
lives-
course.
She
So-
lives next to the building.
Okay, so we're going to ask that you state your name.
My name is Mary Ann Ramos, and I've lived directly across from St. Bernard's Church, which is First Street, since 1977. These past couple of years since the church was sold, I'm constantly having the police respond to the property. It's not just homeless people, there's a lot of neighborhood teenagers and kids going into the property. And I'm constantly calling. The latest call was Sunday. I was outside in my front doing gardening. All of a sudden, I hear screaming and yelling. There's teenagers in the building, and they're whipping huge bricks out of the building out at me into the street. So the police came. However, they're not allowed to enter the building. They were told not to, so they didn't catch them. So they left. They got out somehow. But it's constant with kids going in there, breaking windows. I've had to clean up the glass myself on the street. I just don't know what else to do. And like the fire chief is saying, it definitely is a concern with a fire for the safety of everyone, in the neighborhood. And even when they were throwing the bricks Sunday, anyone walking down the street or driving, they almost hit my brother-in-law's car. He had to move his car. We had to call the police. They came down, but a lot of times they're told by the police chief that it's unsafe to go into the building. So it is a big concern, and now especially with the steeple leaning as well, or the crucifix, we're worried about that also. So I'm just hoping something can be done because, we're trying to keep the neighborhood as nice as can be. We have some great neighbors, but it's unfortunate that my house is there. I have the garage that they own next door. They also own the red building that's up the street. So I'm in the middle of all this. And then when you turn and go on Middle Street, like Bernie and the fire chief were saying, they also own the rectory where the priests were also.
down below.
So it's just such a huge property. And I agree, at some point, either board it up or tear it down. And, as much as the management company, I don't really find that they're doing much. You tell them to come out, and they'll put a few boards on the lower portion, and they don't do anything from like the second floor up. So the kids are scaling the back of the building, going up the fire escape and getting in. They were up on the 4th floor throwing bricks down on Sunday. So that's my concern.
Thank you for being
Thank you.
a resident concerned about the condition of the patch. It's a neighborhood that we want to keep safe.
Definitely.
Yeah, keep
Definitely.
safe for all. So, thank you.
I thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, Liz Murphy, Director of Community Development and Planning. I didn't realize that this was on the agenda tonight, I apologize, but knowing that it is and hearing the concerns, we can certainly bring this property owner into the Problem Property Task Force and present these options and tell him he's got to do something. So I don't know if
think
we're
that-
past that point or how you feel about that, Dante?
Well, I do, again, public safety isn't the financial body that's going to have to take on the responsibility, but I do see Mr. Curry here from the Board of Health who may have the change in his pocket to make some things. That may be a song. Please don't make me sing it.
Good evening, councilors. My inspectors have cited the property owners, and I agree with the fire chief. The property is not maintained. I visited today myself. To say the least, it is secure today, but it wouldn't take much to get in it. I do know that the rectory, and the owner has registered the property, but I do know, I suspect the rectory does have some sort of a burglar or surrounding alarm. I don't know if it's functional. We have asked Mr. Lanoff to meet with us. He has not obliged and done so. As I started, my staff has issued a laundry list of violations to the owner. The deadline is actually coming up, which would be due June 27th. It does include I believe it's called a spire, which is the crucifix on the top that's listing. If he does not meet the deadline, secure the property, clean it up, take care of the graffiti, we will be taking him to court and ordering him to take the appropriate steps to do so.
And So I'm asking for the opinion, I mean, we've heard from the fire chief, I guess your opinion on how unsafe and dangerous that building actually is, I think needs to be, again, brought up to either the property management or the owner, that we've got 2 or 3 big, large departments here in the city that don't think the building is safe. And, you know, knowing the proximity from the steeple, you know, across Water Street at any time, because that's the way it looks like it's kind of listing. Or, I mean, if it falls the other way and falls onto Northeast property right next door, I mean, it's a concern. And I certainly don't want my fire or police in there.
Yeah, so I think
It's absolutely necessary.
I would say the cheapest way for them to solve this, in the best scenario for us, would be to go 2 ways. One would be to secure the building properly, and not just with the way that they have been doing it,
Right.
but with steel-clad screens.
Well, our city ordinance actually says the National Arson Institute guidelines.
Perfect.
So that would be considered bolt boarding, basically where 2x4s are on the inside of the
On the
boards on the
inside,
windows.
okay.
Yeah, so anybody can get in any property if you try hard enough. But the bolt boarding is definitely a more secure method.
That's an upgrade to what they're doing now.
That is correct.
And I would say that the steel clad screening would be an upgrade to the bolt boarding, but we could start with bolt boarding. That is much more secure than they have now, but they would have to do, you know, all the windows and doors first floor. And as the resident stated, there are open windows on the second floor that would also need to be secured.
Yep.
Also, monitoring, I think, would be another key to make into solving this issue. Having some sort of security on there, maybe lights around the building at least, and, you know, with some sort of alarm if the property is, if they do get into it, some audible alarm goes off to at least scare them away, plus alert some sort of monitoring company that can call PD, and PD could at least respond and just see what's going on.
Okay.
So the rectory does have some sort of intruder alarm. It does have, it's actually lit up today, so the power was on in the rectory, I'm assuming.
Yeah, the rectory does have power.
It does cover the church. Whether that's functional, I do not know, but we will definitely find out and
So
work
for
on
the
that
for the
matter.
petition that's ahead of us, because we, as public safety, don't, I mean, I don't know how we govern this, other than to either send it along to the health department, or to the building department, or to community development. How do we get it out of the petition that we're hearing onto the next body that can make these changes happen?
Well, I think Mr. Curry's on the right path with this court date of June 27th. I think that we should have stipulations in it of what they need to do specifically. We can't just keep telling them to secure the building, because I think we have different definitions of what that means. So I think we just need to be a lot more specific when it comes to telling them what that means in actually securing the building. And I think, and Mr. Curry can correct me if I'm wrong, if they do not proceed with this, I think the city itself can pay to have the building boarded properly, and then we would put a lien on the property to get reimbursed. But obviously, that would be a cost to the city, and I don't think that money would be reimbursed back to us until the property is either sold or developed.
Right.
That's correct.
Yeah, and again, this is not the first time that a building has come before, like the NICE committee or the, you know, Board of Health that needs help, and we're left with the price tag, holding the bag. Councilor Walsh?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess my concerns with the 3 options that you outlined, Chief, was the first one is an alarm system, which I guess that's fine, except it's sort of reactionary, not preventative. The second option was the screens, which I think it sounds to me like almost a recipe for disaster for the fire department, where the fire department called. And it doesn't sound to me like that's an option, where the resident of Water Street pointed out that basically a lot of them go up the fire escape and get into the upper floor. So basically, you'd have to do whatever protections you did on the first and second floor, you'd have to do on all the floors.
Correct.
The other thing is those first two options don't address the issue with the spire falling. So I think that's a problem. I think, you know, it breaks my heart. I grew up in that parish. You know, First Communion, confirmation, I got married there. I hate to see it raised, but if that's what it's going to take to keep people safe, you know, maybe that's what we need to look at.
Seems like I think that's the best case scenario for everyone, but I'm not a developer.
Right.
But, you know, and I might be a little biased to public safety, but in regards to public safety, I think that's the best case scenario. Yeah. And for the neighborhood itself at the time being.
I guess my question to you is, knowing that it's going to need probably a study with a developer and engineer to come in and assess what that means if we decide to take down the spire and the steeple. I mean, for the immediate safety of, I mean, you know, God forbid, a storm or snow load or something, you know what I mean, or enough lean that it falls and damages something, who's the next body that's going to take that on with the dollar attached to it?
Boy, that's a good question.
I have all the good questions. I'm
not sure
Demo
if-
budget, I don't know if it's just, you know, we put it in with demo, and when we get to it on the list, we get to it. It sounds like it's more of an immediate need on how to correct as the petition is written.
Yeah, Liz Murphy might be able to answer that. I think that she knows more about the demolition accounts. I know we have a couple in the city budget, and I think last time I checked, there was about 110, 120,000 in there. But I'm not sure if that money's already dedicated to projects. They were looking at some projects on Mechanic Street, and what those funds, how those funds look now.
As far as I know, they are committed.
Yeah, we have 3 properties that we are proceeding with for demolition. But unrelated to that, we met with Felicio Lana about 6 or 8 months ago about a different property, but we asked him about the St. Bernard's Church at the time, and he said he'd be willing to take that building down.
Wow.
So I think that's probably the best path, is if we can convince him to take the property down.
All right, I have Councilor Walsh.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to ask Director Curry, you said that there's a court hearing on the 27th of June?
So the deadlines for the violations
deadline
are
is
the 27th. So after the 27th, or somewhere around there, we would file for court, and assuming that would be within a week or two.
Okay, so when the deadline passes and you file to take it to court, can you request at that point in time that the resolution be that they raise the building?
We would definitely try to mediate with the owner.
Okay.
Obviously, demolition is the ultimate goal here, but we still are having an unsecure building and still a danger, so we would have them address the property until that time, but we can certainly approach the owner to see if that is a possibility for demolition.
Okay, so we may be looking at a short-term resolution and then a long-term resolution. Is
Correct.
that
That
correct?
sounds like a plan.
Yep.
Okay.
Especially for that, the crucifix. You know, you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned storms. Hurricane season is just a couple months away. We don't know what that's going to entail. That crucifix has listed a lot more in the last couple months. So I think it's an ongoing problem. It's not something that's been stagnant for a while. It is getting worse.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Schultz.
Yeah, I think the immediate thing, besides securing the building, is to take the spire and the steeple down. I mean, that needs to happen
Soon.
in the short term.
Yesterday.
I mean, I don't think we can wait for that till we get the agreement to take the whole building down. So that's what I'd like to add to the motion, I guess.
If not, if it does get any worse, you know, we may have to close First and Second Street to anybody. I'd hate to have anybody lose their life just because this problem wasn't addressed. I know that, you know, that would cause an issue for the residents there, getting to and from home. But in my opinion, I just want to keep everybody safe.
No, I commend the effort, and I guess to my colleagues, knowing the information that we have now, do we send the petition as it is to the Board of Health, to the Building Department? Who do we send it to?
I have no objection to it.
I think the building commissioner has to look at it as well.
I would say both would be an ideal situation.
Okay, so for my colleagues, is it, are you okay if we send this petition on to the Health Department and to the Building Department?
Yes, with input from the fire chief.
Yep, I'm good with that.
Counselor Schultz, are you good with that?
I'm okay with that, yeah.
You going to make that motion?
Yeah, make a motion to send the petition to the Board of Health and with input from the fire chief and the building commissioner.
I'll second.
I have a motion and second to send this petition on to the Board of Health and the Building Commissioner with input from both the fire and the police department.
Second.
Okay. Speaking on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Safety is adjourned.
Thank you.